Hello, I'm back with my next video on the poem for class 10, and this is Fog by Carl Sandburg. In this, I will be doing the explanation of the poem, the summary of the poem, along with all the question and answers that can be formed from this poem. I hope this video is really helpful to you. Let us quickly go through the summary so that we understand the poem better. This poem reflects Carl Sandburg's interest in nature. It beautifully captures the moment when the fog comes and moves. He presents an image of life through a metaphorical cat. The poet compares the fog with the cat because the cat also comes with soft paws and without giving any sign of its arrival. The same is the case with fog, as it approaches exactly in a similar manner. The poet says about the fog, which is generally seen during the winter season. The poet also says that fog has covered the city and the harbor completely, and it appears as a cat is sitting by folding its legs and looking around. The poet also described the silent and unpredictable departure of the fog. On the left side is the poem, and on the right side is the explanation. So let us quickly read the poem. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. This is, I think, the shortest poem, but it has a deep meaning to give to each one of us. Let us quickly read the explanation. Fog is a thick cloud of tiny water droplets present in the atmosphere. It is generally seen during the winter season. Here, the poet describes the advancement of fog towards the city and the harbor. He says the fog comes like a cat, comes on its little feet that are velvety and padded. This means the fog advances towards the city very slowly and calmly, just like a cat. Fog is compared to the cat which enters our home in an unpredictable manner. Next, he says that fog sits over the whole of the city as a cat sits silently by folding her legs, that is haunches, behind itself and looks around the nearby places and things. It seems that the fog silently covers the whole of the city and the harbor and is sitting over them looking around like a cat. After some time, the fog leaves the city and moves on. The poet says so because it is a natural phenomena that fog does not stay at a place for long and leaves the place after a few hours. So here also the poet says that just like a cat, the fog leaves the place very silently without being noticed by anyone. The cat here is sitting on its haunches. Let us quickly see the poetic devices. Here we have the first poetic device as the metaphor. The fog has been compared to a cat and the line is on little cat feet. Here the comparison is made without the use of like and as. So this is a metaphor. Number 2, the rhyme scheme. Let us see that there is no rhyme scheme here. The poem is a free verse. The third poetic device is enjambment. When a sentence continues to next line without a punctuation mark, we can see the last 4 lines all continuing without a punctuation mark and there is a full stop at the end. So the last 4 lines are the example of enjambment. And the last poetic device is personification. That is, fog has been personified because it says that fog comes, it sits. So usually these are the attributes of a person who can come and sit. Let us now start with the question and answers. Question 1. How does a cat behave? The answer is, a cat is very quiet. It comes quietly and stealthily on its little padded feet. It sits on the haunches and observes everything around her house. Then it moves on silently without making any noise. Question 2. How is the fog like a cat? The answer is, the poet finds the fog like a cat. The fog comes quietly and stealthily like a cat. It sits looking over the harbour and the city as a cat does. Later it moves on just like a cat to settle somewhere else. These things prove that the fog's comparison to a cat is appropriate. Question 3. How does the fog spread over the harbour and the city? The fog comes to a city stealthily just like a cat. It makes no noise. It spreads over the harbour and the city and settles over them for some time. There it rises high and moves away. In this way, the fog arrives over a city, observes it, and then leaves it to move away. Question 4. Difficulties come, but they are not to stay forever. They come and go. Comment referring to the poem Fog. The answer is, none can deny the fact that after every nightfall there is sunshine. In other words, sorrows follow happiness. Life has many ups and downs. We must all accept problems as a part of life. We should strengthen ourselves so much that we are able to face them and stand up to solve these problems. We should not get carried away. We should learn that time and tide wait for none. Fog is also symbolic of darkness, but it comes quietly like a cat and goes away. It symbolizes that if we are not disturbed by difficulties, then life will itself move to lighter side and things will be easy to confront. We should always remember that we must face all the problems boldly. Question 5. The poet is able to visualize the image of a cat in fog. Similarly, there is an inseparable connection between nature and all creations in it. Based on the reading of the poem, write a paragraph on the topic God lives in his creations in nature. God is omnipresent, that means present everywhere, and nature is a gift of God to us. Nature has both the power to sanctify and power to destroy. He makes his presence, which provides us with the vital oxygen, the food that grows beneath and above the ground, the water that satisfies our thirst. He has made everything and everyone with a purpose, and he lives in all of them. Nature cannot exist on its own. It is because God's reflection falls on each of his creation and we, mere mortals, survive and thrive on this planet. Thus, we must always respect, love and care for all the God's creations. I hope this video was useful to you. Do write in the comment section how you feel, what else you want. Do take good care of yourself. Goodbye.